somebody very evil in my comments decided that it would be fun if I played against 6 fanatic purifier type empires trying to exterminate me. I didn't agree, but I thought it would make a funny video, so here we go. I have forced the spawning of 6 determined exterminator empires who are going to try to purify me, and this would normally not be the hardest challenge because I could just play something defensive, like Deep Space Citadel or something, and then it would be pretty easy. But instead, we're going to use a random empire and use a completely random empire. I have no idea what I'm going to be getting into in Iron Man and trying to survive these 6 purifier spawns. Apparently, we get a random Marauder empire too. Let's go ahead and turn this up to 6 as well, so we get the maximum density of AIs. And just in case this wasn't bad enough, let's go on aggressive AIs just to make sure they're even more likely to attack, even though they're already purifiers, so they are already very likely to attack. Let's take a look at what we are working with here. So we have a big brain species, maybe we're big brain at least. Let's see what we have. Adaptive, quick learners, and resilient. Okay, that's not bad. And we're fleeting and decadent, so that's kind of cool. And then we have a presapient species. Oh no. We have a servile species. Ah. Wait, this is. Wait, can I? Oh no, we're not utopian. We're not egalitarian. What are we? We are fanatic xenophile and militarists, distinguished admiralty and diplomatic corps, and syncretic evolution. Not the start I was hoping for, but we can work with this. Like, this isn't the end of the world. So we're going to need to turn this into a Unity Rush, basically guaranteed, right? There's no way that we're going to be using this kind of species. One of the big problems here is the servile species, right? The servile species is going to make this extremely hard to work with because we basically have half the number of real pops, right? We only have, how many? We have 2.4 thousand Sithins, right? Which can actually work advanced resource jobs. So we're going to have to be really creative about how we survive the early game here. And we're definitely going to need to look for a couple new planets and just choke points in general. So let's go ahead and kind of start exploring out into the galaxy here. I'll just probably set this on auto explore, and then I'll manually take this bunch of fleets here and set this to kind of patrol the nearby area. Okay, so we are bioships. I just noticed that, which is nice because that has good synergy with bioascension. So maybe this won't be that bad, and the servile species can indeed go towards working a ton of food jobs at least, so we can maybe even build up some early amount of fleets, although I'd massively prefer early defense platforms, as I believe those will give us much bigger benefits in general. So yeah, we're probably going to be looking for a choke point. As you do know, I did turn the hyperlane density down, so we could bunker up if we needed to, which will probably be the play here. So yeah, my first order of business is just going to be explore the nearby systems, find out what's next to me, and then the next thing is figure out how to turn this build into a Unity Rush. The most versatile Unity Rush is almost always a trade-based one, even though it's not the fastest. Usually things like temples or even bureaucratic ones are faster, but trade also produces basic economy, which generally makes it outperform the other Unity Rushes. Although, as you can see, currently our Unity is really, really terrible. Really, really bad. Thanks to thanks to what's it called? Admiral, Distinguished Admiralty. Sorry, yeah, Distinguished Admiralty boosts our leader level start, but that just means it's burning more Unity at the beginning. So we're gonna have to get rid of that at some point as well. I think I'm gonna start with an administrative office. This is crazy, right? And then we'll go ahead and convert this zone into a commercial forum, and then kind of get our build going from there. All right, looking at the first 3 planets. At least we have a very good first few planets, right? So we get an alpine world, another alpine world, on the 3rd alpine world. So we have 3 planets here that match our species preference, which is really nice, as it's going to give us a solid platform to work with before we, truly start ascending and that kind of thing. And also, we should build out our start research base. Our mineral deposits and that kind of thing as soon as we can because they cost food, right? So they're very, very free to get. I don't know why I'm forgetting the name for words for things today. I guess I probably should have eaten something by 6:26 p.m. But like Not always, not always. Anyhow, let's go ahead and just keep going with this. Oh, we're out of housing already. We have pre-sapient unemployment. Yeah, I don't like this origin, but we'll see how it works. We're also thankfully democratic, so we can escape all of these terrible civics and stuff at year 10. We're probably just gonna reform out of everything and start to kind of customize our empire to our liking. And then Xenophile, at least that has good synergy with trade. So we have something going on. It took 1 year plus to get our first tradition, but now we're mercantile, and eventually adaptive economic policies can help us actually, get our first couple traditions going, and start out this Unity Rush. I think, yeah, whenever you start with a random build, it almost always has to be Unity Rush based, because otherwise you just won't get strong enough. And we're definitely going to be relying on defense platforms here to survive instead of ships because they simply cost less Unity, right? Anyhow, I don't think we want to go evolving society yet. We want to save that for when we have more than 21 Unity production, right? So we're not going to start that right away. Instead, we're going to start getting our trade going first, and then we're going to expand the council in the meantime because having a larger council is almost always something helpful. And yeah. All right, everyone, let the unity begin. Trade policy, marketplace of ideas, and it finally probably doesn't feel like we're going to be completely stuck in the mud with unity now. And let's also see what trait we get. Politician, mining rush, neither of them are too good. And once this commercial nexus completes, we're finally going to be starting to have some kind of economy going, which is really nice. And we can even build a commercial forum, I believe, and really start to get that going. Oh, it's only 34 Unity. Man, that is poor. It is really, really poor. But we're gonna probably change the mixed industry zone out on our capital as well for another commercial nexus just to speed that up further. And we'll take unyielding once we start to make first contacts and that kind of thing, as it'll probably take at least a decade before we make first contact with any determined exterminators here. I hope. So yeah, we have some time to focus on Unity before things get really hairy. Well, we found the merchant guild here, so we can go ahead and just buy some strategic resources. We have a bunch of spare energy credits, why not? And this will be useful later on too, because this will boost, I think we'll eventually get a leader from them that can boost the efficiency of our traders, which will obviously help us Unity Rush, which is still kind of the end goal here. As you can see, this Unity Rush is going to be really pathetically slow. It's already year 10, and we're not even at 100 Unity. But when you start with kind of random builds, you really can't be guaranteed to get something that will make your Unity Rush easier. So, hey, you get what you get, and you work with what you got. And we're going to do our best, despite the imperfect starting circumstances. Also, at this point, we probably want to build up just a little bit of Unity here. For our election, as we want to make sure that at year 10 we can reform our government with new civics, as these civics are going to make it really hard to do anything, as they don't help our economy in any way at all, especially with basically half the number of useful starting pops. Anyhow, not a huge deal. I mean, we're still doing fine. So here we are at our starting election. Basically, you want anyone except your starting leader to win. Our starting leader is a scientist, so we're already in that state. At this point, you just need to not touch anything. And in a few months, let's go ahead and go into fastest here. The election will conclude. A new leader will be elected, and we can now freely reform our government. So what we're going to do is we're going to reform into an oligarchic. I believe I want to go merchant guilds here. I don't think I need to go memorialist. Sorry, I just touched my mic. Hopefully that didn't make all of you deaf or something like that. Let's see. We can go ahead and go maybe reanimators would be really cool, because reanimators can use our kind of lesser needed pops, right? Because we have so many of these servile pops that aren't doing anything useful, and reanimators can actually take advantage of that and help our Unity situation. So yeah, that's perfect actually. And we're going to go ahead and just spend 600 Unity to expand the council here. I think where we're going to go is Minister of Research. That is very nice. We're going to go Director of Trade to increase that trader efficiency. There we go. We're going to go Master Necromancer now, with a second scientist on the council, and then a Minister of Defense. And yeah, we'll just hire a random level 3 leader, I guess. Doesn't matter exactly what they are. I do want like defense platform based things for them because, well, I need more defense platforms at some point. And we can go ahead and take Evolving Society now that we have a much better Unity production. And I think we need the reanimator building, right? What's it called? Let's go ahead and take a look for it. It's under research building. I don't even know what it's filed under. I think I just saw it for a second there, but I missed it. It's under military buildings. And once you have a dread encampment, this is actually going to be really, really nice. Let's make this world here, this size 23 world, literally based around dread encampments. So what we're going to need to do is first resettle a bunch of our species over. So all these addexes, I don't even know how to pronounce that. We're going to just need to resettle a whole bunch of them over. Like, now that we have over 1,000 on this planet, we're going to quickly build up this planetary administration. Hopefully they don't auto resettle back in the meantime. And then we're going to turn this into a fortress-based world where we use those reanimators to use these necromancers. So I didn't go over exactly what necromancers do, but here we go. They give 2 physics, society research, 2 engineering research, which is very good, in exchange for 1 consumer goods, which is not the best. However, they also give naval capacity and unity, which is really, really nice. And although we won't be needing the naval capacity for quite some time in this build, this is still a decently efficient job, and I think it's also just a cool way to take advantage of the serviles that we do have. And even though it might not be optimal in slot, it might be better to literally just go meritocracy or something like that. I think it's a very cool idea to kind of play towards whatever we happen to randomize into, which is, of course, syncretic evolution. So let's go ahead and take advantage of that and see what we can do. All right, now that we have some of these necromancers online, you can see we're getting a really nice jump to our unity, as the necromancers produce a small amount of unity, and then the necromancers also generate armies. And what we've done is, now that we're getting free armies, we've taken resistance fugal from unyielding, which is something that we're going to want anyway to try to survive the purifiers as we scale up, right? And this is just a very, very nice synergy because I wanted unyielding anyway, and now we're getting some unity from armies, 26. This is only going to increase as the number of necromancers across our empire increases, right? And then thus the number of necromancer armies we're going to get, and we're putting these servile pops to use where they normally wouldn't have been too useful to us. Now they're doing something. Instead of us having empty specialist jobs everywhere, we can actually use these necromancers to pretty good effect here, which is going to be really, really nice. And yes, there's also some planets here where there's just a bunch of workers. We're going to have to eventually resettle them to our necromancer planet there, as there's a bit of natural migration going on, which is kind of spreading our pops around. But also, we have a basic resource world that we're going to start to get online soon. Right now, we just don't have the pop growth really to get any of these online. This is the bio problem, right? I think planets should have like a base 1 or 2 of pop growth at least, or something like that, just to help out biological empires, because we're supposed to resettle a bunch of pops over, but it's just generally really inefficient to do that because it costs resources to do that. And how brutal is this to just have less than 1 pop growth on some of our starting planets, right? Here's one planet where we have like 3 or whatever, or not even 3, right? But that lowered our pop growth on our home planet by like 1 by relocating so many pops off, right? So it's, you gain something, you lose more. It's just generally really, really brutal these days when it comes to pop growth for biological empires. So I think having a base pop growth would be nice, at least for your main species type. Just, I don't know, like +1, +0.1. I don't know what the exact number should be. All I know is that I feel like it's necessary. Otherwise, yeah, we just end up in this situation where, your base pop growth is so low you don't get much from colonizing your planets, and you'd be better off just rushing unity on your capital and doing nothing else, which is fine, but just a little bit boring, I would say. One thing we're going to aim to do, too, is just kind of secure our borders. Wow, that's a crazy system there with 9 rare crystals in it. But yeah, for now, we're just going to be, still expanding out in our local area, keeping our basic economy stable. And look at that unity. Really nice, considering how bad it was earlier. And I guess we'll go Fortress World, right? No, this doesn't increase the efficiency. So we're going to go... Well, that's only Unity output for... Oh, none of these are great. Trade from jobs, no. I guess the Fortress World it is. All right, it's finally time to start biomorphosis, which is really nice. It's definitely taken a while here at year 24. We've just started it. We're also just going to use What is this? This is terrible. I'll just let the planet melt. Um, yeah, like I don't care. If this wants to be an ocean planet, it can be an ocean planet. Right? Because when we're done the biomorphosis situation, we're kind of very thankfully we're gonna have more than enough resources to um, do whatever we want anyway, right? So we're just gonna go ahead and build a good old genomic research facility on every planet. This will probably use up a lot of our resources, but that's okay. Also, we just probably don't even have enough pops to populate them, to be honest, but whatever, it's fine. Um, like, anyhow, better late than never. Do we want robots? I don't think we want robots. Robots aren't going to help us too much. I really don't know how to organize these planets either, as we are bioships, but we don't have anglers. And without anglers, we're not going to be able to get very good food efficiency on any planet. So I'm thinking maybe we just dedicate the size 23 planet to food at the end of the day. I mean, right now it's terrible. It's a terrible food planet. It has blockers and everything, but we can clear those out. And I think in the long run, having such a large planet for our food world will probably be optimal, and then we can get tech through other means, right? We can get tech through a dedicated tech planet and that kind of thing. This planet can probably be divided into half tech, half commercial. Then we can have maybe this uncolonized ocean planet as a dedicated tech planet. Let me just go ahead and colonize that now, so we have that ready for when we're fully ascended, and then we can have like energy and minerals kind of split on this planet, and then but then we still need a industrial planet, and we still need a planetary defense planet, right? Um, I guess what we can do is our planetary defense planet can also double with reanimators as a tech planet, right? And we won't need the most insane amount of tech, although it would be nice to have more. So I have, really no exact idea currently on the best way to do this, but we'll figure that out once we get further along. Especially with the 5 planets, we should have enough, but it's definitely a bit tight. It would be nicer to have 6 or 7, making it much, much easier to manage. All right, we found our first exterminator. They're up in this direction. Not a huge deal. So what we're going to do is we're going to start building up these star bases, and we're going to enable. So we've had Eternal Vigilance for a while, right? So Eternal Vigilance is from completing unyielding, and it's just a nice perk that gives you huge bonuses to star bases and platforms, and can additionally build you free platforms as well. And what we're going to do is first we're going to design a platform here, and there's a couple tricks I wanted to do with these platforms. Is I'm not that familiar with bioship platforms, to be honest, as they haven't existed for most of the life of the game, especially in metas where I was trying to do platforms. But we're gonna go ahead and do something like this, and just have a red laser and half flak, half PD, and then we'll use autocomplete to complete the rest of this platform, and we'll call this the PD class defense platform, and we can just turn on auto upgrade as well. And what we want to do is we want to delete all the other platform designs, and then this will become the new base platform design. And yeah, let's just make sure we have everything filled out. We'll take Purity as our second customizable pick for biomorphosis. This also means we should do the gene tailoring technology now as well. And yeah, what we're going to do from here is we're going to go ahead and enable in our government. Where is that tab? I'm really dumb when I'm talking. So yeah, it's policies and edicts, and we can go ahead and turn on full spending. And now we should start to automatically build up some defense platforms, especially on places where we have star bases. And this is going to cost us a lot of alloys in the long run. So we do need to be careful about that, as we don't have the most alloys built up right now. And we don't even have that much like factory resources to spare as well. So we definitely need to be careful, as we could easily bankrupt ourselves if we're a bit too greedy here. So yeah, we'll just have to be careful about that. We do get a factory focus leader. That's not going to be useful later on. Naturalist will produce us some unity, I guess, so we'll just go ahead and go with that as we just work on this biomorphosis situation. This is going to be a bit painful for sure, but we'll get through it. Alright, a little time has passed. Once most of your stations have like 7 or 8 of these PD class defense platforms, we're going to go ahead, go back into our ship designer, and we're going to swap the secondary section over here to just something like a medium station section, put some coil guns on it, or whatever the coil gun equivalent for non-bioships. What's exactly called coil guns, actually? What are these even called? Medium shard accelerators, right? So we can put some shard accelerators on. We'll call this the laser class platform because the laser is still the star of the show here. And then these will become our new main platform designs, I believe, which is great because we basically want, as you can see, the first defense platforms we build to be kind of close to the station to be the PD ones, and then the ones farther out to be kind of standard, which is exactly what we're going to get. So that is definitely nice. And you can see also that we're starting to struggle on a lot of our basic resources here. We're negative on most of our industrial resources to the point where I think I need to swap over one of these districts on our capital to a mixed industry section. I don't want to do that yet, though. I really want to save up just a little bit more Unity. Also, we're going to take cloning as our absolute last pick here for our flexible traditions. But yeah, we're also overcapped on. Let's just build a city district, right? This is what you do when you're overcapped on minerals. You just build a city district everywhere because city districts will always come into use at some point. But yeah, like this economy is just so bad, and yeah, part of it is just the fact that like these, we don't have enough citizens, right? We don't have enough of our species that can actually work specialist jobs, which is why I dislike syncretic, although I think we're really getting the most of this build by being reanimators, which is quite cool. So anyhow, we're just going to try not to go bankrupt here. I'll sell off resources as needed to keep this thing going until we ascend, and then we can kind of decide what we want to do with all our planets at that stage as well, because, yeah, we still have to do that as well. Alright, I think I have to bite the bullet here. This economy is getting too bad. We're going to swap our trade policy to consumer benefits. Too bad you can only swap it every 10 years. This is going to nuke our Unity production a lot, but we're now going to have a small excess of consumer goods, it looks like, and we can use some of this newfound trade that we have to buy something more useful. In fact, we have quite a bit of an excess of consumer goods, so we can completely stop buying that, and we can buy like 9 alloys per month, so or 10 alloys, just buy 10 alloys per month, so we stay positive in alloys now, which is really nice, and we can even buy like, I don't know, like 40 food, and 40 energy credits, and yeah, now we have a stable basic economy again, which is really nice, as that was going to be really needed, as that was getting quite rough. And we can also start to focus a little bit more on alloys now, as we're going to need some alloys at some point in order to start actually building fleets, which probably makes the size 16 planet here. At the end of the day, this is probably going to be what we really, really need for our food planet. I think we're just going to stick with this very large planet as our planetary defenses planet, as this will also double as society and engineering tech, which is really nice. And we don't need the craziest efficiency of that, so I think it'll work out, and then we can just replace one of these commercial nexuses with something like a physics zone, a physics specialization, to kind of patch up our terrible physics, and then we should be really excellent. I think in the meantime, too, we can go ahead and add just a couple city districts here, because we're going to lose quite a bit of commercial efficiency once we delete, half of the commercial zones off this planet. Definitely having as much as we have currently is a bit of an excess, and then we can go ahead and turn this into like a full-time mineral planet or something, mixed with a little bit of energy and food as we need, and then this planet will be probably like full-time food planet. So yeah, we finally decided what we're going to do with our planets, and we're going to ascend anytime soon, and we should even have enough for a decent amount of this tradition tree. Also, we are going to go purity, not because I think purity is that much better than cloning or anything, but it's definitely better if you go super late game, which is basically our plan, right? As we're just going to avoid confrontation by trying to get this starbase as strong as possible. I know 12,000 is not sufficient, but we'll be able to improve this pretty rapidly. And I think one of the first things we're going to do is also design a better species. Let me just make sure I don't already have the gases. Right? I think I should, right? Because as soon as I finish this, rooting out the problem, we're going to get the option to let the spores live and then utilize them in like 1 month. And then, yeah, that'll give us gases. So now we have access to gases, which means we can make a much better species template. Let's go ahead and create a template. Oh, I just realized I could get the servile trait off of these pops if I wanted to as well. We'll think about that in a second. So I guess for this species, we can go ahead and take something like cranial megatrophy, because we really don't need them to work basic resource jobs, right? Those are going to be the jobs of the Adeeks. We're going to go with fertile, robust, and exotic metabolism. We're also going to put on something like unruly, and then we can put one more positive trait on. Let me see if there's any really good positive traits, and if not, we can put something a little bit less good. Yeah, like probably just thrifty, right? This would be a great default, and then we can have these guys assimilate into the default subspecies. And then for these guys, we really want to maximize these guys for their serviles trait, right? I think I could just remove it. This feels boring though, right? Like, it feels boring just like getting rid of the thing that made the species feel unique, but at the same time, I don't like any of these traits. So let's just get rid of them. Let's just redo this thing completely. Let's put on unruly. Let's put on repugnant. Do we have repugnant as an option? Oh, we do. Okay, perfect. And then erudite. No, not erudite. Fertile. Robust. I still want these to be the species mostly working the basic resource jobs, right? Exotic metabolism. You know what? Let's have fun. Let's leave the servile trait on there. Let's go ahead and go. Wow, we have so many trait picks left. This is crazy. Should we go nerf stapled? No. This makes job efficiency for civilians and maintenance drones really low. Oh, no, that doesn't really matter, right? Because these species aren't supposed to be our leaders anyway. We still have 3 trait points. Oh my. I guess we can get rid of one of these and just add another 1-point trait. Food production would have been nice, but I don't think we can fit it with just 1 trait point. So, I would like to make them livestock. I don't think I can do that though. Yeah, we'll just do something like this. Why not? I never mess with livestock. I really should. They're probably really good. So let's set this as a default, and then can we have 2 defaults with 2 different species like this, or does that overwrite this? No, this is still default, and then this is still default for this species. Nice. And then how can I get these to integrate? Let's have these integrate into the default subspecies. So there we go. A little bit of species configuration done. And yeah, I did keep the serviles trait, which I'll probably regret in the long run, given the breakdown of my pop production, but it's fine. Also, let's just go ahead and immediately adopt perfection protocols, right? Because this just gives such a ridiculous amount of pops, which is definitely going to be something we're going to need. Oh, we have an exotic gas shortage. Why? Did we not complete the gas project? Ah, they're just not being worked. Okay, that would explain it. And we can also just migrate some Scythian over to this planet here. Yeah, so that we can start producing pops on this planet as well. Very, very nice. And this is why Biomorphosis is so strong as well, because it gives your genomic researchers a base pop production amount. I don't know why the assembly speed, the growth here is 0. Yeah, because it gives you a base amount, you immediately get good growth from every planet regardless of the pop count. And where your pop count is high, you get even better pop assembly speed, which is really, really nice to see. And this is actually a fairly balanced build too, because we're getting decent amount of unity still, decent amount of these techs, right? This is kind of fun. Definitely looking forward to going vertical on this and just seeing what it can do as we get later on into the game. Although we do have to survive until then, so let's not get too cocky, and let's definitely fill up every single spot that we can with a laser platform here, and also start to militarize this world, right? I guess, yeah, we have so many of these servile pops just like filling up kind of worthless positions here. So let's just make sure we have colonists maximally deprioritized on every planet, as that should help us out quite a bit. We can go ahead and build this planet up for minerals, and then we can build this last planet here up for food, physics and engineering, or not physics, sorry, engineering and society, and then physics on our capital. And I think this is overall a pretty good distribution, and now all we have to do is look for the archaeology project, right? And then try to take that as well. We're getting insults left and right. I mean, we're going to be militarily much weaker. And I believe we also need to find FTL inhibitors, otherwise we might be in trouble as well. So hopefully we find that soon. But for now, I'm just going to keep on playing. By the way, I already gave up on having the DX as my I already gave up on the serviles. I took serviles off. The reason I decided to do that is, like, I just looked at my capital and I was like, we have so many like trader jobs unfilled, and like I don't want to have to micro all of that. I want the jobs to just fill up. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to worry about which species are on which planets and that kind of thing, and it's inconvenient and all that stuff. So yeah, we decided it'd be easier to just not deal with that. One very nice thing that we just had happen for us is we managed to find the Deep Space Citadel technology. It's actually a few techs ago. I guess I forgot to build it. Um, but yeah, let's go ahead and build one of these, as this is going to give us enough protection to be comfortable for a very long time on our border here. And I don't believe we have any wormholes as well. So because of that, we're going to be pretty safe. Yeah, there's no wormholes. I don't think this thing comes with like a shroud tunnel or something. Does this? I actually have no idea what the shroud seal does. So yeah, like that would be very, very nice, as we could hide in this little corner for quite a bit longer, and hopefully they're busy fighting each other or something, right? And I can just chill over here and kind of tech up in the background, as that is my favorite way to play the game. And oh, we do get FTL inhibitors, so if we can get this Deep Space Citadel built and that going, we're going to be very safe. So let's turn on Fortify the Border. I guess we've also had mining subsidies and like farming subsidies for a while. We could have had those on. So let's turn them on now. Better late than never. And just try to stay safe in this little corner. And just look at how fast our tech is increasing, by the way, as these species translate over to the higher efficiency species that we want in the long run. Like absolutely insane. Yeah, this is awesome. We're definitely doing quite well. We're definitely doing quite well. I just wanted to point this out because I don't know if I've ever seen this before. Have you ever seen an arc furnace deposit of 22? I think 21 is the most I've ever seen before that wasn't in modded. I've obviously seen higher in modded, but like I just wanted to point that out because I feel like that's the highest I've ever seen, which is just kind of cool. You know, it's like all right, nice. You know, that's a new record for me, so I'm not unhappy about that. I mean, like awesome. That's a great place for an arc furnace. And let's also just check if we have any more good arc furnace sites. 11, 8. Yeah, nothing spectacular besides that one system, I guess. But that is a dang nice system, so we're definitely going to be building an arc furnace there. We might build one on this 14 as well, and just try to produce some energy credits to sustain that. Yeah, we're going to get some energy credits on this planet going soon, which is nice. And we're definitely short on energy credits a little bit right now, but that'll get better in no time. As you can see, near year 50 here, our defenses are coming along pretty nicely. Obviously, these aren't like the strongest defenses in the world, but they're more than enough to keep us safe as we scale up and build up our military economy. As you can see, we have a decent amount of alloys and food now. Obviously, 70 alloys is not optimal, but when you're working with bioships, it's actually not the worst thing in the world. Although we have a long way to go before I would consider that sufficient in order to start maybe even fighting back against these AIs. But for now, we're just scaling our economy up, which is definitely working quite well. As you can see, we're well over 1k tech. Or not well over, we're just a little bit over 1k tech, which is nice considering how I would say mediocre of an empire design we started out with. And yeah, we're doing great. Just a matter of time at this point. It doesn't also looks like the AIs just are programmed not to attack into the station. I thought we might get some really funny things where like we just get to watch like a 50k like AI fly into our stations and get absolutely melted or something, but that doesn't look like it's the case. I could declare war with some of these guys just to see what happens. Like I'm very tempted to click this button, like against like these AIs and just watch to see like them try to attack us. I think that could be pretty funny. You know what? Let's go ahead and do that. Let's declare war, and just see what happens here. As I don't think it'll give us any real negative effects here, and I get to see how all my defenses hold up, so that this isn't too boring, right? It's not just us building up forever and never getting attacked. As it turns out, yeah, I think even if you put them on aggressive, right, they don't seem to be that willing to attack us. So let's see if this changes that. Like we see some of their fleets coming in, but like that's not gonna get through AI. Come on, like there's no way they must have more fleets than that. I don't know why they would send them in piecemeal like that. But okay, yeah, here we go. I'm just screwing this AI over, eh? This poor Quentian Deathbringers. They're one of the better designs out there. They are anglers, right? So I don't feel too bad for them. They have 40k bioship fleet here. What is this, Corvette? Oh, I forgot to give them bioships. I'm sorry, Quentian. Whatever, you just have anglers for no reason then. I thought I'd given you bioships. Oops. But I guess they have intel now that I have a huge starbase, so they shouldn't send them in on me, right? You know, let's declare war against all of them. Why not? This is funny. Let's just declare like end threat containment against all of them. That I haven't declared war against already, and just kind of see what happens if any of them can actually get through. I think this will be pretty entertaining. So let's go ahead and get all of those declared and see if anything happens. Whoa, they're building up way more fleets than I thought they had. But on the bright side, we're upgrading these deep space citadels, which basically make us immune to getting attacked, which is really, really nice. Um, yeah, I don't know what ships I'm looking for, by the way. I guess Harbingers. Maybe I'll build a Harbinger fleet. I'm not sure. Harbingers or Stingers, something like that. We definitely need more minerals looking at this. Right, yeah, we're kind of out of minerals, although hopefully our arc furnaces can fill in for that once those get rolling as well. Well, I must say, these Fnatic Purifiers are impressing me because they have 100,000 fleet gathered here now, which is definitely more than I thought they would have at this time, and it's actually a little bit scary. It's scary enough so that I'm going to go ahead and turn on most of my edicts. It's also made me wish I actually designed my deep space citadels instead of just the platforms that go around them. So yeah, that's a little scary, right? So we're definitely going to be upgrading these desperately. We don't have more buildings to put on them. That's a bit yikes. But I mean, these are pretty strong platforms, right? Like we have more platforms than they have ships, but they just keep building. Oh my god, what have I done? Is this like a crazy good exterminator build or something like that? Like just Fnatic Xenophobe anglers? Like I don't know. Um, I don't think I did anything that special, but you know, it's definitely looking pretty dangerous. It's definitely looking pretty dangerous. 127,000 they have now. What do we have? Um, we have like 150. No, we have 130,000. Oh my god, it is so close in fleet power. Yeah, we need this to upgrade as soon as possible and give us an actual advantage. I don't know why I can't put more buildings here. Normally there's buildings available, and I guess we're also still full spending, so we're building platforms pretty quickly. But let's build more. Right, we need more platforms because this is pretty terrifying, right? Like I don't want to lose this station. If we lose this station, this game is over, right? And we are an Iron Man, so there is no recovery. Perhaps declaring war on every empire here was not the play, but it's funny nevertheless. I would like to see if they can actually defeat me, and I'm also curious which fallen empire or which not fallen empire, which one of these purifiers is actually winning. But I just don't have the intel right now, and we're never gonna get a Galcom either, right? Because they're all purifiers. So we're gonna need to get some better intel at some point. But for now, we're just gonna be like looking at these crazy fleet numbers amassing at our borders and just kind of being nervous about it. All right, everyone. It's been a while in real life, so hopefully my volume is not too different. That is typically something I do tend to struggle with. But we finally finished. Oh, we have another tradition pick that's been sitting here for a while actually, and I think we're just gonna take Arcology project. One thing that might be kind of cool is since we are Xenophile, we could take Xenocompatibility, get a little bit of extra pop growth speed. Currently, we're not really in major need of that. But we are in major need of some minerals, as it would be nice to start this into an Ecumenopolis. I think there's a couple more blockers to clear, and then we gotta rebuild them, rebuild those districts, of course, and let's just slide this to the top priority and try to get this Ecumenopolis started, because that could be really, really nice. And let's see if there's anything here which could be very good. Urbanist, Galvanizer for some extra unity, I guess, will be the play here. Our unity is pretty good, but I'd say the main problem I'm having with the Necromancers for tech is that there's no efficiency scaling for them. Even though I really like the output, Naval Cap, Unity, and the techs it gives are very nice, they don't scale very well vertically in the sense that there's not a lot of base bonus modifiers to them that you can really do that I know of. So if you know anything that applies to Necromancer jobs, because these standard science buildings don't, let me know, because it could be extremely, extremely useful for really getting the efficiency to go into the stratosphere. But I think we're going to stick with it for now, because I think it's just kind of cool thematically to play something a little bit different than a fully standard empire. And I think the next thing I want to go here is catalytic reprocessing. This will just give us a ton of output from metallurgists, and we can really use that to kind of accelerate ourselves towards, having kind of real fleets instead of just depending on our pretty massive and safe starbase. But, of course, if we could get anything better than that, that would be very nice as well. Let's just always get our highest level leader on the Master of Trade there, and we can just, skip having a Minister of Defense with this much naval capacity, which is only going to increase as we continue to build more and more Necromancer jobs. I will say putting Reanimators in just to boost the efficiency of your soldiers, if you just wanted them for soldier jobs in the first place, does seem like it would be a pretty good idea. So I just kind of wanted to add that in, kind of just as a thing, right? Like if you want to have Necromancers just for the sake of having Necromancers, like it's actually a pretty good idea, right? Because you just get the tech on top of the naval capacity you would normally get anyway. So it's not a bad third civic if you don't have a plan for your third civic in a lot of biological builds, I would say. So yeah, do keep that in mind, and it adds a little bit of consumer good upkeep, but really not the craziest amount. And I'm surprised how much food upkeep our catalytic is going to take, but that's okay. We'll get an alloy reclamation plant going, and this farming world has tons of verticality left to it. So we're just going to go ahead and continue to build this up. 600 food from 2,000 workers is really not a lot. And yeah, we can build more city districts and more agriculture districts to boost this up. And it'll never be the best, right? Whenever you're playing without anglers, food is not a easily produced resource. We'll probably need a second food world at some point, or maybe we can just take over some of these empires, and then we won't need to worry about food at all after that. Too bad you can't vassalize any determined exterminator type builds. There's no diplomatic war goals with them, right? I'm also surprised that one of them hasn't eaten all of the other ones. That is a relative surprise to me as well. Anyhow, we're just going to keep building up now and see where we end up. Should start to build a fleet soon, as I'm not sure how much longer the starbase can hold up as a method of defense, but it is also extremely bulky here. Yeah, we're looking at like nearly 100,000, 170,000 fleet power right here. Which is definitely more than the AI have, I would say. Actually, I don't think it's definitely more anymore, right? So we better be careful, right? Because this could change at any point, and that's kind of scary. So yeah, I guess we should start thinking about some real ships. And I guess we're probably just going to go straight Harbingers. I'm not really used to working with Harbingers, but ooh, they're only pickets. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Is there no other designs for Harbingers, or do they just not have the weapons to make that work? I have no idea. Maybe we'll wait for Stingers. I don't exactly have the best scout wings, so I guess we could try to get better ones. We should be able to find them in our research at some point. All right, at this point in the game, we're kind of flying along. We're kind of overproducing alloys and underproducing food just a little bit. But once again, that's kind of something I expect every time you play battleships without anglers, is you're just going to really struggle to keep up with the food. Although we could use some more pops here, so we could just, relocate some guys over from some other planets where we have some spare workers. And with the upgrade of this orbital ring that we're starting to build around every single one of our planets, we should be looking pretty good. I will say, besides Maulers, which I definitely abuse in the early game, I'm not really sure the best way to play battleships in the mid-game. The Harbinger class of ship, I just want to mention, is a very confusing class of ship to me. If I look at the artillery designs that I have available to me, maybe I've just been focusing on the wrong text, but like protons are great, right? I like protons, but I usually like to put protons with kinetics as they struggle to deal with shields, except they go along with scout wings, which ignore shields, which means the protons won't be doing very much, right? Because they'll just be hitting into a shield or something, right? So then you could go something like this, which is not the most inefficient because the missiles will be hitting with 50% shield penetration, so those hit, hull directly and that kind of thing. But then these have 100% penetration, so you're kind of wasting like half of the damage of the missiles hitting nothing. Or something that doesn't need to be broken to actually kill the ships. So I have no idea the best way to run Harbingers, excuse me. A little bit confusing to me. So I probably won't run them. I'll probably wait till I have Stingers. And for now, we'll just use the good old trusty Maulers with Disruptors. Building up a few of those. We're not going to build too many, like maybe one fleet of these, and then we'll probably go over to Stingers, as I don't want to maintain too many battleships, as they are quite expensive to maintain, right? They have quite the upkeep, and I don't really want to be dealing with that. On the other hand, we're starting to kind of upgrade all of our planets into our colonies, hiding behind this choke point and behind this starbase. It's definitely working well for us, and I will also say if we had needed to, and we had multiple choke points, it wouldn't have been too hard to build up deep space citadels around them as well. They're honestly quite cheap for their power level overall. So very, very solid. I like them. Oh, we get the Oracle. Perfect. We get a really, really nice industrialist leader here. Again, in case we need a new industrialist leader, the Oracle has some of the craziest traits, or not the craziest traits, but just like really nice, solid traits in general. This is they used to be higher level when you'd get them, but I guess that's changed. They'd usually have a bunch of upgrades, but this guy doesn't, so we'll just stick with our leader here. It's definitely much higher class, just being so much higher level, right? And we don't have a principal catalyst anymore, so let's go ahead and get a new one of those. And yeah, having this many scientists on the council is nice for some extra tech speed, but my tech speed is overall not amazing looking at it. Just plus 58% is not crazy at all for this stage of the game in 2265. And being a Bioascension with less than 2,000 tech is definitely a pretty funny to look at. But yeah, I think part of the problem is this fortress world. It just does not hit the Necromancer efficiency that we would really need. And for some reason, okay, I cannot tell you why. I don't really understand this. So I've had the military academy research for a while. Unlocks building military academy and job efficiency for necromancers plus 15%. That is exactly what I'm looking for. Although there is an empire limit of 1, which is fine. That's all I need really. Or yeah, empire limit of 1. But I don't have one anywhere in my empire, from what I know of. And I can't seem to build another one. Is it because it's not filed under military? Let me check. But it's also not under all, right? I don't see it anywhere. So is it just secretly blocked with necromancers or something? Or is this a bug? Or do I just not know how to build it on my planet? Or am I literally just like missing it and not seeing it or something? I don't really know what's going on there. Anyhow, 15% is not the end of the world. And I would think at this point I definitely will be looking to replace my engineering and society tech sources with real tech jobs as soon as some of these accumulatopolises finish and we start to have a surplus of space on a lot of our planets, which is definitely not something we have right now. Right now, space is quite limited on most of our planets, and yeah. Anyhow, we're going to start to get some accumulatopolises, and it definitely looks like the original challenge of Survive the Purifiers was a bit too easy, to be honest. I guess to give ourselves a real challenge, maybe we have to play a zombie survival mod or something like that. That thing is definitely quite a challenge, I must say. But yeah, I guess in the meantime, then we'll just keep on scaling up, and once we've kind of reached like year 100 or the kind of fleet sizes where we've kind of feel like creative mode, we'll call it a day, and we'll call it we've beaten and survived the AIs here, and they're definitely probably fighting each other too, which is helping. Although it looks like this Fnatic Purifier is actually one of the ones that is overall winning, which is pretty interesting. I definitely would have thought an Exterminator or Devouring Swarm would have won, but one Devouring Swarm is already dead. One Exterminator is on the verge of being dead, so it looks like the Fnatic Purifier was the winner after all, which is not expected. And they're definitely going to become even stronger after some time, so I got to be a little bit careful about that as well, and maybe get some of these Elder Maulers going or something like that. or Harbingers, or Stingers. I don't have Stingers yet, so maybe let's take a look at the Elder Mauler. Or Cypher Mauler here, right? So it's just more combat mandibles, which, honestly is fine. This looks like a pretty solid fleet design, if anything, right? So I guess we'll just go ahead and build some of these. The Disruptor class, I don't think these things have growth tiers. And yes, Swarm Combat Computer is fine, I think. Yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. And build some of those, because why not? I like Maulers, why not have really big Maulers? I still don't know what their overall weakness is in the game, as I've never reached the point where it's been a problem. At least, especially with Stingers, at least for bioships. So, Elder, Harbinger, nope, that's not what we're looking for. Cypher Mauler, let's see how much these cost. Definitely quite a bit. We're mostly limited by food still, right? So we should be able to patch it up pretty easily, though. By building one of these and upgrading this planet a little more, and then once we get some of the bioterraforming techs, we should be able to find some better techs in the society tradition tree. I will say, having the society tradition tree be this crowded by having so many different techs from the bioships is definitely a big downside for Fallen Empire technology. As getting access to good Fallen Empire technology is super important, and the most important building, the or like the medical building, I forget the exact name of it, even though I've built it so many times, is one of the most important things you can do in any Bioascension run. And since there's so many techs that are like crowding the society tech, it can be a little difficult to find for sure. So anyhow, we'll keep working on it. Alright everyone, I thought we should start recording again because it looks like if we're gonna get attacked, it's gonna be now. We have 300,000 fleets at our border, and I kind of just noticed, to be honest. So I'm kind of militarizing as soon as possible and as quickly as possible. And the ships we've kind of decided to go with are are these Stinger class ships. I really should have them set up slightly differently. I also probably want to build some shipyards on this border here so that I can actually adjust my ships and that kind of thing as I get upgrades to them. Unfortunately, there's no shipyard available for Deep Space Citadel, so I'll have to put them on the starbase here, which is fine because we definitely have some space here. And let's, kind of start tearing this down to start being a better starbase. And then our Deep Space Citadels could use a bit of work too, right? We still don't have any great buildings for them, to be honest. But I guess we could, surround them with defense platforms still. So let's just, build some more defense platforms even. And we definitely need to find a way to get more food. So what I'm doing is I'm starting to upgrade this planet to be kind of a food planet main. I think we even have a bit too much energy, so I can replace some energy. This definitely shouldn't be a mining support. That should definitely be probably swap this over to an agri support to get this to be kind of a secondary planet for food. This planet is already as food as we can get, right? There's no more building constructions that we can do anywhere, I think, that would increase the amount of food on this planet. So yeah, it's kind of just up to internal scaling now. For food, I guess I could use habitats and just start building food habitats, but food habitats are really not the most efficient. I'd much rather do it on planets, but I just don't have that many planets in my system. This is what I get for going really compact, I guess. But yeah, we're gonna need to start focusing on these fleets a lot too, because some of these fleets are definitely not the greatest designs. A lot of these Stingers, for example, are a really bad class of Stingers, and they need to be upgraded. Also, I don't want them to move. I want them to sit here as they upgrade. Oh, right, it's because I don't have any shipyards yet. Let's push the shipyards to the top of the queue, and also probably turn on Fortify the Border and Fleet Supremacy. I think we should also go to probably like supremacist diplomatic stance, as this is actually quite the standoff here. I think my goal should be to defeat this fleet, and when I defeat this fleet, the game can be considered won. But that's going to be easier said than done, because that is a huge fleet, and I'm not even sure if we genuinely have enough. And maybe I should be building fully built Stingers. But yeah, the food problems we're having are just so insane right now. I really wish we could have more food. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reform out of catalytic. We clearly have enough alloys at this point, so we can get rid of catalytic and adopt something else. I wish we could adopt anglers in the middle of the game. I really, really wish they made that as a change. I don't see why not, but I guess it's fine. We can just go ahead and drop catalytic now, and that should give us some extra food production in exchange for alloys, right? That's exactly what we were hoping for. And we do need to reform our council again as well, so let's just quickly redo that. Director of Trade, Principal Instructor. I think it's a bit late for a Principal Instructor, but I accidentally put one in the council, so it is how it is. Head of Research, and Head of Defense. Go ahead and put all of them in. Oppose the fall, and we're kind of running out of agendas, thanks to late game Statecraft having just such crazy agenda efficiency. And as you can see, we're also doing really well on tech now. I think we kind of want to focus on a bit of society tech and a bit of engineering tech. I don't know if we still need more physics, to be honest. I don't think so. So I guess we'll just go for a general tech, because I don't want to think about which exact kind of tech I want to build, and we can just build some of these and get every single kind of tech at once, whilst also just, building as many Stingers as we can. And as these juvenile Stingers grow up, I don't know how long they take to grow up. Also, this temporary class, oh my gosh, they don't have... It's because I never stopped building them, and this is why I hate dealing with ships. Oh my god, build a different class. Okay, let's just make a new one, ship designer, and let's save this as a new class Stinger. Yeah, I think this is basically exactly what I want. Save that, and then we can just start retrofitting over here. So everything that's a Stinger, we're gonna need you to retrofit. Where's the retrofit button even? Is there only a retrofit button from here? Juvenile Stinger. Can you not retrofit these? Because I want them to have X slots. If I click upgrade, will they add the X slots in? Because okay, you know what? The easiest way to do this is probably to just abandon the entire ship queue, which is gonna take. Okay, this is gonna take forever. Oh my gosh. So that's gone. Is there ships queued anywhere else? Yeah, I'm gonna get this sorted because I can't be having these stingers with no ships. I think that was my only shipyard though. Besides over here, and I don't think there's anything queued. Oh, there is. Of course, there's everything queued. Okay, there we go. The ship, everything is cleared. All right, now we can resave this design. This design already exists. Okay, see, now it updates and doesn't have the X slots in. Let's put the X slots in. Let's put the Scythian batteries in, um, and save that. And then I should be able to upgrade these fleets, and they should be upgraded to have the X slots and all that thing. So yeah, that's what we wanted in the first place. But obviously we are derpy, so it takes us forever to get that going. And now, when we queue up more of these fleets, they should be queuing the proper ones with the X slots, I hope. And if not, we'll be in trouble. I wonder how many resources I deleted, by the way, from like overcapping on alloys or something like that. But it is what it is. At least we are now finally building the correct thing. The Scythian artillery, perfect. That is, I believe, that is the kinetic battery tier 2, which is exactly what we want. So let's get that going as soon as we can as well, and then, yeah, hopefully we can stand up to this fleet, which is, they're moving some away, which is nice, which will give us some more time to build up here. So yeah, I'll be back after I've been able to build up some more fleets. Alright everyone, just some quick updates. I've done some adjustments to my pops as I've gotten the, I don't even know how to pronounce this word, but the species, like, auto-modding thingy for biomorphosis, so I want to go ahead and apply those to most of my species, so that's what I'm doing now, and it has resulted in a decent jump in the efficiency. I jumped from like 3k tech to like 5k tech in not too much time, also because the Serviles trait, apparently, I didn't know this, but what is this trait called? Nerf Stabled is kind of like Serviles, it seems. They won't promote to specialists. I don't know why. It doesn't say that. Oh, it does say that. Ah, I didn't see it. Cannot be employed in the lead or specialist jobs. I did not manage to read that. Okay, that's a reading skill issue. Okay, so I've corrected that now, and now all of my edicts are the, this generally efficient template, which resulted in a pretty big jump in tech, which is nice. So I've definitely been holding myself back just a little bit by being silly and not having my stuff configured properly, but hey, you live and you learn. Sometimes reading is hard. Anyhow, let's go ahead and yeah, keep upgrading this tech planet. We definitely need more tech, and it's also just annoying to remember to go and queue up more and more stingers. I don't know if I should be just queuing already like grown-up stingers or something like that, and that would probably be faster. But this is fine the way it is, I'm not too upset with this. And also, we do get the nice growth chambers as well. I don't know if this growth chamber can be upgraded. Oh, I don't know why I canceled it. That's not what I want to do. I definitely want this growth chamber to just speed up the growth on this, big stack of ships here. And maybe soon we can fly this fleet into theirs. And once that's done, we'll call it a day. All right, everyone. I think it's finally time. I don't even know if my fleets will win, but I have 400,000 and they have 288,000, so I'm just going to assume my ships win. And okay, what we're going to do here is we're going to have them pile up on the hyperlane. Just make sure they don't go in piecemeal, and then we'll send them in. And I'm assuming this should win. I mean, like, we have more ships. If not, we're going to be in trouble, but we can rebuild up again since the defenses are still there, right? So that whatever's left of their fleet definitely won't be able to overcome. And these kind of maulers are just going in sacrificially, and then I think the stingers here are going to be carrying the majority of the damage here, just mowing them down from distance, right? Whatever they have. Hopefully, they don't get too close because that could be trouble. And yeah, looks like we cleaned them up with not very many losses. Only our melee ships were lost, and they were probably not necessary in the first place. Yeah, these stingers are amazing, like, at least against AI ships. I'm not sure, I have no idea how they perform against human design ships, but yeah, I always like artillery class ships because they just perform really well in general. Yeah, the AI always struggled to kill them. So anyways, we can definitely survive. We can definitely survive AI fleet. All exterminators. In fact, we can even do pretty well into them. Overall, the review of this build is necromancers are meh, meh. Like, they're okay. Like 1,000 tech, 2,000 tech, and 1,000 unity being produced along with like 2,000 naval capacity is decently efficient for 10,000 necromancers, but I like to consider it you pick a civic so that you get a small amount of unity and tech from your soldier jobs. That's basically what it does. It's good, I would say, if you have no idea what to take for a last pick and you're going to take something like meritocracy, you might as well take something like this. It's going to be better. In a lot of cases, if you need a lot of naval capacity from soldiers, if you're using it as a primary source of tech, they're just so inefficient compared to actual physicists and biologists and that kind of thing. I'd much rather run an empire based around kind of these real tech positions than trying to collect enough soldiers to play like this. Though it was fun for Unity Rush out of Serviles. That's kind of the main reasons why I picked it, and it definitely was pretty fun to play. A bit of a mix-up. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. And yeah, if you have any fun challenge ideas, let me know, because I'm definitely struggling for video ideas right now. But with that being said, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.